Tonight, millions of Americans are without power as flooding from Helene washes away communities.
We narrowly escaped a landslide.
People are now questioning where to start the recovery process.
Try survive it and just rebuild and start over.
This is KOMU 8 News at 9.
Coverage you can count on. KOMU 8 News starts now.
As Helene continues its path north, many are dealing with flooding and power outages. Good evening, everyone. I'm John Murphy. Thank you for joining us tonight. Helene severely impacted huge portions of the southeast. CNN's Ivan Rodriguez has the latest from Keaton Beach, Florida, where much of the town was leveled.
Erin Peeler walks along this dusty road in Keaton Beach, seemingly in bewilderment. Her home and all her neighbors' homes gone.
The Florida governor says power in the Big Bend area is all basically out, and thousands of National Guardsmen are conducting rescue efforts. In South Georgia, over 100 structures were lost. FEMA is warning residents they are not out of the danger zone, even if the storm has passed them. Missouri Task Force 1 is sending more team members to help with relief efforts of Hurricane Helene. This morning, FEMA asked the task force to send a 16-person water rescue team to North Carolina. Task Force 1 members were already working in North Carolina and Florida. Tomorrow, 45 team members will travel to Georgia to help with relief efforts there. Now let's check in with our First Alert weathercaster, Patrick Harrion. And Patrick, are we going to be feeling the effects of Helene here in Missouri?
Well, thankfully, we're not going to see any. Break down your full weekend forecast coming up.
All right, thanks, Patrick. The city of Moberly received $1.5 million in financial assistance from the Missouri Department of Natural Resources. This funding will be used to cover the costs of new wastewater systems in part of the city. KMU 8's Aman Masal was in Moberly today and has more. Aman?
The funds awarded to the city come from a $1.1 million low-interest loan and a grant of more than $400,000. The project focuses on one of Moberly's major roads, Sparks Avenue. The street is currently not being sewered by the city, but the project aims to provide wastewater collection service to residents and businesses along the avenue. Moberly's project managers say they want to help.
There's one industry there, MacRac, that this will benefit them, and then the whole area, there's a couple neighborhoods there that only have old existing septic tanks and stuff like that, so this will help sewer that whole area for the future.
Improvements will include a lift station and about 2,000 feet of new pipes. The Department of Natural Resources assists communities across Missouri with their water-related improvements projects. One of the department project managers says helping communities improve their infrastructure is important.
City of Moberly is not the only city we work with. We have multiple communities that we work with to try to help them better their systems, and that's what the department stands for.
Work on Sparks Avenue should start in March and is expected to be completed by September of next year. In the studio, Iman Misael, KOMU 8 News.
All right, thanks, Iman. A new trend is happening in schools across the country. Hear why one attorney says bad choices in early adolescence could lead to worse consequences.
And we saw temperatures reaching just under 70 today, about 7 degrees away from average. Just about how warm we'll get tomorrow coming up.
Welcome back. Recent school threats in mid-Missouri might be part of a larger trend throughout the United States. New threats are being investigated in 3 local school districts within the last day. Here's a look into just how many schools are being threatened in Missouri. The New York Times reports more than 700 juveniles have been arrested and accused of making terrorist threats across the country, and that's just in the past 3 weeks. One attorney says making bad choices in early adolescence could lead to worse consequences if charged in the future.
Number one factor, in whether it's juvenile or whether it's adult, in the kind of sentence you get, one of the first things any prosecutor is going to look at is what is this person's criminal history.
Local school districts told parents they can help prevent threats by letting children know how serious consequences are. And a border visit and a meeting with President Zelensky. Hear about the busy day in politics after the break.
We were cooler today, but we're starting to get above average again. What you can expect for this weekend coming up.
Welcome back. A trial date has been set for the truck driver charged in connection to a crash that killed 2 women on I-70. Walter Montejo's trial is set for December 10th. He faces 2 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the deaths of Cindy Helms and Malvina Collin. The crash happened in August in Columbia, just east of the Stadium Boulevard exit. Investigators say Montejo's semi-truck crossed the median while trying to change lanes and crashed into a U-Haul carrying Helms and Collin. A Columbia restaurant owner wanted in 2 counties was arrested last night. According to Butler County court records, Crystal Umfres, who owns Casa Maria's Mexican Cantina in Columbia, posted a $65,000 bond yesterday. But they returned her bond because she needs a new attorney. She remains in jail. There was a warrant out for her arrest on September 24th after failure to appear in court. Umfres faces 1 count of arson in Butler County after she allegedly paid someone to burn down a restaurant in Kennett. Umfres also faces charges for forgery and filing false documents. She's accused of impersonating an elected official in emails in an attempt to have other businesses investigated and their liquor licenses revoked. Umfres has a scheduled trial in February for the arson charge. In the race for the White House, candidates are taking high-stakes trips. Former President Trump met with Ukrainian President Zelensky before touring battleground states. Vice President Harris made her first trip to the U.S. southern border as a nominee. NBC's Alice Barr has the latest from Washington.
Vice President Harris traveling to the border today in battleground Arizona. Her first border visit in more than 3 years, aimed at blunting criticism over a key vulnerability.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams surrendered to federal authorities a day after he was indicted. Officials accuse him of taking $100,000 worth of free plane tickets and luxury hotel stays. The 64-year-old mayor pleaded not guilty to the 5 counts that include bribery, conspiracy to commit wire fraud, and solicitation of a contribution by a foreign national. His next court appearance is scheduled for Wednesday.
Sure, it's been an active couple of days across the United States today. The remnants of Helene still over the southeast. It's starting to meander a bit, still seeing some flash flood emergencies in parts of North Carolina. The state that had the highest amount of power outages was not Florida, where it made landfall. Over in the Big Bend region, it was in fact South Carolina. Rest of the week, 79 on Thursday, 80 by FNF next Friday, and 77 by next Saturday. And now, time for your Weather IQ question today, presented by Break Time and Big O Tires. What other hurricane made landfall in the Big Bend region of Florida this year? Idalia, Debbie, or Beryl? The answer is Debbie, and that made landfall on August 5th, 2024.
All right, thanks, Patrick. The CEO of Weight Watchers is leaving the position after 2 years. She pushed a company to embrace weight loss drugs, including Ozempic and Wegovy. This was a big change for Weight Watchers, which was built on portion control. But it didn't work out as stock prices have plummeted. A board member and former CEO of Shake Shack took over as interim CEO. Well, coming up, Mizzou Volleyball opened its 2024 Southeastern Conference play against LSU tonight. Those highlights next in sports.
Now, from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Mizzou Volleyball hit the road to open its 2024 Southeastern Conference slate this weekend, taking on LSU tonight. Missouri leads the all-time series with LSU 13-7. Heading into SEC play, the Tigers are riding a 5-match win streak and rank 2nd in the conference for hitting percentage and kills per set. Cardinals in San Francisco taking on the Giants. That game kicking off right now. Tune in at 10 for Week 5 of Friday Night Fever highlights with Ben Arnett. I'm Brooke Hammond, and that's it for sports.
Here's a look at what we're following for KMU 8 News at 10. Week 5 of Friday Night Fever is underway. Catch all the highlights from football games around mid-Missouri at 10.
As we head into the weekend, we're seeing temperatures drop down to those lower 60s by the time we're waking up tomorrow morning. But we're going to see some sunshine, especially into that afternoon hour. Some of us, especially towards the northwest of mid-Missouri, you're looking to see some sunshine a lot tomorrow. But we're peaking out about 78 degrees, and we're pretty much going to see the same thing on your Sunday, too. So a perfect weekend to head out, maybe take the bikes out. But then we see 80 degrees on Monday, a weak cold front passing through Monday into Tuesday, knock down our temperatures into those lower 70s. And yes, we're actually going to have an overnight low about 48 degrees. So the 40s are coming back. So fall slowly but surely starting to make its appearance before we get closer to 80 by next weekend.
But it didn't rain as much as we thought it might. Friday Night Fever, Ben Arnett was out there, Matt was out there.
Yeah.
It looked pretty good out there at Metal High School.
Yeah, there were some areas,
Oh, yeah.
particularly in the southeast, that saw some rain showers, but I think a lot of us had a beautiful night for some high school football.
Yeah, we're doing way better than the Southeast United States right now. That was intense.
Yeah,
I mean, the footage of that, the flooding.
Right, there's entire towns underwater. A good friend of mine lives down in Tennessee, at 30 miles east of where he lives. The whole town's underwater out
We
there.
hope everyone's safe. Missouri
Yes.
Task Force 1 is there, so we'll see you guys at 10.
Download the KOMU8 News app, First Alert weather app, and streaming app available on these devices. KOMU8 News, coverage you can count on.
Josh Hawley's spending millions to